link up, baby. You just hit my line for the wind down. It's only one thing on my mind when you come around me. I get lost in where you found me. Want you to use me. You let her confuse me. Don't wanna hide the fact that you make me feel that way. Want you to give me play. I see it in your eyes, you're lonely. Come put that body on me. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. Nobody do you like I will. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. They can't do you like I will. Like I will. I treat you right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. I treat you right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. They can't do you like I will. Like I will. Pick up the phone, little baby. You got me up and I'm wavy. You know I want you to myself. You know you've been driving me crazy. Looking me right in the eye and tell me it's mine. If not, I'ma make it that way. You know I want you in a major way. I bless that body, make you share your grace. I've been trying to get you face to face. Wanna fall through and give you ways to waste. I do what it takes. I make them walls sing on your heartstrings. Say your arms. I treat you right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make it feel. I treat you right, I will. I hit it right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make it feel. I hit it right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. I treat you right, I will.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking, all right? So if you guys can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up or radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, then give me a thumbs down or angry face. I'm going to shout out everybody that's in the building early before we get started, all right? So shout out to all of the early birds. We got Patricia Slade in the building. We got Lena L in the building. Shout out to Lena. We got DC Precise in the house. We got my man AB in the building. We got Shamika Gray up in here. We got Mr. King in the house. And we got my man Lloyd Sky 9. All right, so shout out to everybody, man. Top of the morning. Hope everybody is doing well. All right, I hope that y'all eat some really good food today. Hopefully y'all eating good every day. You know what I'm saying? But you know, this is when people eat. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all about to eat in the comment section, because I'm telling you, man, I got to work later on. I know all the coworkers is bringing plates in. I'm about to tear the food up like I ain't got no sense. I'm going to tear this food up like I just crossed the Darien Gap and made it to New York City or Chicago and said, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm about to be sitting there eating like an undocumented bro. You feel me? Shout out to David Joseph. What's good with it, bro? Shout out to my man KO Kid Fit. Yo, shout out to KO Kid Fit last night, man, on the on the Reacts Podcast channel, man. We had a good time over there. If y'all not subscribed to the Reacts Podcast channel, make sure that y'all go over there and check it out. And shout out to Robert Taylor, all right? So we're going to get into it, man. We're going to cover a couple different topics, and it's a bunch of streams that I want to try to get done. I'm going to try to get them bad boys done today. You know what I'm saying? I got a little bit of time before I got to get busy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get it in. Shout out to my man KO Kid Fit, man. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat for KO Kid Fit's grandmother. I'm about to run at 8. My grandma hit me up talking about I got macaroni and yams. I can't wait to see you now. Oh man, I can't wait to see you now. And you like, I can't wait to eat now. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, it's about to be lit. How many people watching the football game? You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, check this out, man. I feel people on not celebrating these holidays, but if you sit there and say that you don't eat good and kick it with your people on the holiday, man, you know what I'm saying? That you fronting. You know what I'm saying? You fronting. Because I tell you what, man, anytime I can eat good and anytime I kick it with my people, I find an excuse to do it. Because I like kicking it and I like eating. You know what I'm saying? Now, am I sitting up here with a pilgrim hat on or, you know what I'm saying, just telling everybody turkey is the best thing in the world? Hell to the no. But I tell you what, the time with the people that are in your circle that you love and that care about you the most is priceless. So whatever excuse that you can use to be around them while they're here on the planet, do that. You know what I'm saying? Do that. You feel me? Shout out to Denise Scales and shout out to Lavanya Frank. What's good with y'all? So we're going to ask this question right here. Will the migrant crisis force Chicago to stay lit? Because I'm going to tell you, man, Chicago out here on they stay lit mafia grind. You know what I'm saying? The city council meetings are lit. You know what I'm saying? The town hall meetings are lit. The migrant shelters are lit. Over there in Brighton Park, where don't none of them people speak English at, is lit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Dave East and Styles P. Everything lit. You know what I'm saying? I know probably only my man AB Promotions know what I'm talking about. But yeah, in Chi-Town, like Dave East and Styles P, everything lit. You know what I'm saying? So we about to check it out and see exactly what's going on. Shout out to my man Tori and Rain. What's good with it, bro?
A new migrant caravan.
Lit. Y'all see this? They coming from the third world countries, you know what I'm saying, where none of these buildings got ceilings on top and it's just open air rain inside the building. You know what I'm saying? To a major city, a Democrat city near you. So what it's saying here at the bottom is that cities struggle to house migrants as caravan approaches. Now check this out, man. There's a unlimited number of caravans approaching the United States. And it's been going on like this for years. People just now getting hip to it. But if you watch like old school, like old right-wing media, you know what I'm saying? From, you know what I'm saying? Like even when Trump was in office, there was a huge migrant crisis that was coming up, or a huge migrant caravan that was coming up from El Salvador that people wasn't really paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff is not new. It's just that people are getting hip to it now. And the reason why people are getting hip to it now is because literally it's right at their doorstep. Chicago PD, right at the doorstep, literally, with blow-up mattresses and pillows out there. You know what I'm saying?
And of up to 7,000 people now passing through Mexico, heading straight for the U.S. southern border. This migrant saying many have no money for food or transport, so they have to get to the U.S. border this way by walking. But as that
man, that's man, this is insanity. Shout out to my man Alonzo Griffin. What's good with it, bro? If you guys haven't smashed the like button yet, please make sure you guys take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell, please make sure that you guys hit the bell. We got 26 people watching and we got 18 likes. Let's try to get that to 40.
massive caravan makes its way north, major American cities are struggling to house the ones who've already arrived and are seeking asylum in the U.S.
We're having to create new space because we don't have any other space we can access in New York City.
This week.
So here go my question. How are they going to create more space? This is what I've been telling you guys since I started talking about this particular topic. There is no way to geographically create more space. What they're going to have to do is mix and match. And they're not going to be able to do that. And they're also going to have to relocate people to different places. They're not going to be able to accommodate this properly. This is going to be a problem that is going to implode. It's going to cost, it already has costed billions of dollars. This crisis could cost in the upwards of $1.5 trillion by the time it's all said and done. And who knows how the United States will be changed after it's quote unquote all said and done. And I guarantee you that nobody that voted, none of the taxpayers, most of the people are not really happy with how this is being handled by the government. Shout out to Jay Bird. What's good with it, bro?
New York City opening a new tent city on Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn, which could house about 500 families. The sprawling facility features individual rooms outfitted with cots and bassinets and provides electrical outlets and locking doors. But the field it sits on, once a naval air station, is prone to flooding.
Now, here goes my question. Why is it that they didn't do this? You know what I'm saying? Why is it that they didn't do none of this for the homeless population in New York City? That's my question. And shout out to Cameron Jones. Cameron said they don't want to fill the interior of the country that is sparsely populated because there is a white majority in the Great Plains. Yeah, I agree. If you guys agree with Cameron, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down.
City officials have raised concerns about the fire hazards posed by the cramped living quarters.
The nearest fire hydrant is 3,000 feet away. If there was a major fire at that location, there wouldn't be enough water for the fire department to quickly put that fire out.
However, New York City officials have denied those claims.
So here's the question, right? What's wrong with the engineering? If that place is prone to flooding, you mean to tell me that they can't do some type of creative engineering to collect the flood water and then utilize that water for fire hoses in case a fire breaks out? I mean, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but that would be the common sense and most efficient thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shout out to my man Alonzo Griffin. My man Alonzo Griffin is waiting for the Box Bros stream. Box Bros is coming. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that's what's good, bro. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Shout out to my man Jay Bird. Yo, if y'all ain't checked out that last stream over on BLR1, make sure y'all check it out.
As they try to make space for what they estimate is just under 70,000 migrants in New York's shelter system.
In terms of the fire safety issues, these are not fire traps and these are not death traps. Every single space has issues that we need to address and mitigate. And we work very, very closely with all of our agency partners to mitigate those things. And we're doing that with the fire department.
In Chicago, as the cold winter months approach, city officials are building a tent city with winterized tents in Brighton Park and have plans for another in this vacant lot on the south side.
Okay, so now you see in Brighton Park, right? And in Chicago on the south side. Now, keep that in mind because we're going to be talking about Chicago for the majority of this stream. All right, because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Chicago. And remember, they're also moving migrants from Chicago to St. Louis. So that's going to be a thing that we're going to be seeing more of as well. Information about St. Louis. Now, remember, St. Louis is a city that's way smaller than Chicago. So this is really going to put a strain on St. Louis when this starts to go on in St. Louis. And there's probably not going to be as much news coverage about it. So we're going to have to really be on the lookout and trying to comb these social media and news outlet streets for as much information as we can find on what's going on in St. Louis, because it's not going to get as much coverage as Chicago, which also might be one of the reasons why they're trying to route people to that area so that, people can kind of forget about it because they know how people's minds operate. If you don't keep this stuff right in people's face, people move on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Wallow J. What's good with it, bro?
Winterized tents in Brighton Park and have plans for another in this vacant lot on the south side.
Chicago's winter are brutal. Play migrants in the tent in such conditions is nothing short of inhumane.
All right, there go. Shout. That's KO Kid Fitz homeboy right there. You know what I'm saying? That's that right there. You see how he got this up on the screen? He watching one of KO Kid Fitz videos right now, and he mad about it. As soon as he get done with that rant that he's doing down there at the city hall, he about to get right on YouTube and be like, there's a YouTuber named KO Kid Feet, and he's always talking shit about me and people like me, and we don't appreciate it. Watch. I'm telling you, watch for that video. It's coming soon.
Side.
Chicago's winter are brutal. Play migrants in the tent in such conditions is nothing short of inhumane.
Yeah, that's what he gonna say. He gonna say, the roast that KO Kid Feet or grinding whatever his name is, this roast are brutus. He talked too much shit, and I don't know how he is allowed to have these contents on YouTube with their guidelines. Man, he finna go in on you, bro. He finna go in on you, bro. We're gonna have to light his ass up on the Reacts channel, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then put the video on members only so they can't get to it.
The Brighton Park facility drawing backlash from Chicago residents at a heated community meeting last week.
What does housing look like for our own residents who are houselessness, who need affordable housing, our seniors, those resources that asylum seekers are getting in one place. Our residents have to go multiple places for.
And in Massachusetts, officials announced
now, I don't know if anybody has heard about what's going on in New York City, but I don't know if y'all saw, but we got the premiere window up for the live stream tomorrow morning about what's going on in New York City. And when it comes to New York City, as you guys can see, New York City is done. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about it tomorrow.
Waitlist for arriving migrants after the state reaches its fast approaching shelter system capacity of 7,500 people. Massachusetts Governor Healey also announcing a work authorization clinic for migrants in those emergency shelters next month.
There's so many steps that they can review to make sure that the applications won't be denied or rejected for things that can be fixed.
Cameron said asylum from what? Unemployment, which is not something that you can find asylum from here in the United States. But what's interesting is that they have job programs and all these different kind of programs set up for all of these migrants to come here already, when they haven't done any of that in the same capacity that they're doing it for the migrants, for the people right here in the United States. Everybody that's upset about this situation has every single right to be upset about it. They got every right about it. I didn't even know that they were sending them to Buffalo. Lavanya, I didn't even know that. And I pay attention to the news in Buffalo too. And I didn't even see anything about it. So if anybody has any stories about any of this, please make sure you guys take a moment and hit that Discord link that is in the chat and join the Discord, and make sure you guys send the links into the Discord chat. You know what I'm saying? And also, if you guys can do the survey about the notifications, let me know, because I actually was looking at my analytics to check out some different strategies as far as my content goes, and I noticed that the largest outside source of notification for my content is Discord. It's the largest one. It's the biggest source of notification, which more than likely means it's the most accurate source of notification. So it's extremely important. If you enjoy the content, if you like getting here right when the stuff starts, or within a couple minutes of, make sure that you join the Discord. You know what I'm saying?
Seats on site.
Cities push past capacity, with more migrants appearing to be on the way.
And Guad Venegas joins us now from our bureau in Miami. Guad, I understand there's an update on the southern border as well, that razor wire barrier that Texas put in the water to stop migrants from crossing the Rio Grande.
Aaron, there is, and everything that happens in Texas affects.
So now let me ask you guys this. How many people support the idea of the razor wire barrier in Texas that was put up in the Rio Grande to stop the influx of migrants? If you think that that's a good idea and you support that idea, then give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you think that that's a bad idea and you do not support that idea, then give me a thumbs down, okay? Now, the reason why I ask is because that is under Operation Lone Star, okay? And Operation Lone Star is something that the governor of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott, did in order to slow down the illegal border crossings and to secure a lot of those cities, like Eagles Point down there in Texas. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Biden administration has tried to interfere with a lot of what Governor Greg Abbott has done down there. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my man Alonzo Griffin, man. Alonzo Griffin is a long-time subscriber, man. So shout out to Alonzo Griffin. And my man became a YouTube member. So shout out to him, man. That's one. Now, I appreciate everybody who becomes members, but when the people that have been watching the content for years become members, that is like something that warms my heart, man. And it's not about the money or anything like that. It's just about the longevity. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Alonzo, man. Make sure y'all throw some radiation emoji in the chat and show Alonzo some love. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my man Jay Bird, who's been a member for 18 months. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. When a lot of times when y'all see content creators, you know what I'm saying, they got a lot of new members and stuff like that. We got old schoolers up in here. You know what I'm saying? We got old schoolers. So shout out to the old schoolers, man. My man Jay Bird is a young man in real life, but he an old man on Black Light Revelations. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now, what you gonna do about that? You know what I'm saying?
the rest of the country when it comes to the migrants, because most of them arrive through Texas. So we know that with the border barrier in the water, the buoys judge is overlooking that. Well, Court of Appeals is overlooking that decision, whether Texas will be able.
Man, I want y'all to just pay very close attention to these thick ropes. Look at these thick, and this is extra barbed wire. Like, you know how the barbed wire usually has like the little knots? These actually have like raised razor. Like, I think this is different. This is raised, like, this is razor wire. Like, I don't even think you could call this barbed wire, because like the barbed wire actually has barbs on it. This is like raised little like razor blades off of the wire, and it's thick. And look at old boy, just like he's holding it, and he's holding a plate. You know what I'm saying? He's holding it and he's holding the plate. He's doing like, and he got two mismatched shoes on. He got a sandal on one foot and he got a shoe on the other, which is wild. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all ever came out the house like that? Don't lie. I've done it before. A lot of times you catch me looking like that when I go to the mail. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my man got the sandal on one foot and the church shoe on the other. And he's holding barbed wire. That's somebody that you don't want to mess with right there. That is somebody that you do not want to get involved with.
That decision, whether Texas will be able to keep those in the water or remove them. But there's also a decision that has been made with the other lawsuit. Texas sued the federal government after Border Patrol agents were cutting the razor wire fence that's been installed in the border as well. But even though the judge has ordered, the decision was that the judge ordered Border Patrol agents to stop cutting the fence, there is an exception where they can cut it if a migrant is in a medical emergency or under medical distress, which is why they say they've been cutting it. So it doesn't really change.
So now here's the question. You got to ask this question, and I want to know what you guys think about it. Why would the Biden administration intervene in what's going on in state affairs, which is not something that the federal government is allowed to do? That's actually against the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? Inside the state mandate overrules federal mandate. So why would the Biden administration come through and interfere with what's going on in Texas? Make that make sense.
Ordered, the decision was that the judge ordered Border Patrol agents to stop cutting the fence. There is an exception where they can cut it if a migrant is in a medical emergency or under medical distress, which is why they say they've been cutting it. So it doesn't really change much on the ground, but it's just another chapter in this battle between Texas and the federal government as the humanitarian crisis continues.
Now, think about this, right? You can see the kind of issues that this migrant crisis is causing the cities in the United States. The fact that there's a conflict going on between the federal government and between the local government, or between the federal government and the state government, is just wild to me. Like, the fact that that is actually going on is bizarre. You would think that they would be on the same page because this is causing a national issue, but they're not. Make it make sense.
The border, Aaron, with the migrants still making their way to the U.S.-Mexico border.
All right, Guad Venegas for us in Miami tonight. Guad, thank you.
Thanks for.
All right, so there's that, right? So now we got another video, and what this video is talking about is that there are migrants who are fed up with Chicago. They don't want to be in Chicago anymore. And what's funny is that they're actually going back. But now here's my question for you guys. Who's paying for the return flights? Think about that. They let these people come up. They get here. They're not happy with what they see here, and then they bounce. Who paid for the travel ticket is the question.
So many of these sanctuary cities now unable to keep up. In Chicago, for example, a group of people who came out of Venezuela, all the way from Venezuela with hopes of a better life. They've been living on the streets. They say, we're going back home. One of them declaring the American dream doesn't exist.
Now, think about that, right? They got all of these programs and all of this stuff. They got like they have being able to be integrated into society, probably like integrated pretty easily into middle-class society, already set up and on a silver platter for these people. And that's not enough. That's not enough. They don't see that as enough ease of integration for them. So then they want to do what? They want to turn around and go back to Venezuela. Now, I got a question for you guys. If you support the migrants in Chicago flying back to Venezuela, give me a fire emoji, a flame in the chat. If you don't, and you feel that they should stay here, then give me an angry face in the chat. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 36 people watching and we got 30 likes. If everybody could take a moment, bang on that like button and get us to 50, that would be great.
Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez with me now. Sir, how you doing? Good morning. I saw this story. I said, this is wacky.
Oh, there go your boy.
How many people are we talking about?
There go your boy, Raymond Lopez. I told y'all, Raymond Lopez, he be working the camera, working the room, working the politics. Raymond Lopez is a professional. That dude is a professional politician, man. I may not agree with everything that he does, but as far as his ambition and movement, I can't get mad at him. Shout out to my man Mo Fax. What's good with it, bro?
Chicago has seen 20,000 migrants appear on our streets since August of last year. We've got nearly 3,000 living in police stations, 800 living at O'Hare Airport, and thousands more just floating around in between shelter to shelter. And I'm sorry that they don't like our weather. I'm sorry that they feel that we're not doing enough to give them jobs, housing, vehicles, cars, food, shelter, clothing, and everything else that they were promised by social media. But the system works if you do it the right way, and declaring asylum because you need a job isn't the right way, and they're learning that reality the hard way now.
Well, the truth is our law does not offer asylum if the question is economic. Now, the question, are you under hardship? Are you being persecuted? Are you being religiously persecuted? I don't know how many coming across the border can check all those boxes. Anyway, number of migrants bust to Chicago out of Texas alone per Governor Greg Abbott as of November 11th, so a couple days ago, more than 18,400. Here's the money Illinois has spent on humanitarian aid for migrants. You're over 300.
Look at that. I want y'all to pay attention. All money ain't good money. Make sure y'all note this for when the Democrats want to talk about how much money they've done. All of these amounts that have gone to specific groups of people, we need to ask them, is our amount that we've gotten from Democrat policies greater than or less than what you've given to other people? Because I'll tell you what, the amount of votes that we've given to the Democrats are definitively greater than other people, which means that the amount of money that goes back into the voters should be greater than other people. So now when it comes to all of these different cities, the federal government, all of these different places, we need to start adding this up, line item, make sure that it's kept on a line with who it went to. Also, sign, you know what I'm saying, that the amounts that we got, compare those greater than or less than. The only questions that the politicians need to ask is, did we get this? Honestly, when it comes to these Democrat politicians, this coming election should be a very different situation. It shouldn't be them just sitting there talking at a crowd. What it should be is a trial. They need to be answering questions. We don't want to hear anything that you have to say unless it's you answering these questions. In Chicago, Illinois has spent $330 million on the migrant crisis. In Chicago, what amount of money has been spent on foundational Black Americans? The only answer that anybody should be giving is a number. And if they can't give a number, next. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. That's how all the interviews should go. If you can't give numbers and you can't answer the questions that we're asking, interview over. We're all out. Bye. Goodbye. Have a good night. Have a good day. Talk to an empty room.
30 million, which, by the way, is cheap compared to New York. I'm going to read you a quote from one of the Venezuelans saying, "How many more months of living in the streets will it take? No more. It's better that I leave."
Well, I'm sorry that they feel that way.
How many months of living in the street? Well, I mean, if it was that bad where you were at, living in the street should not be, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be that bad. Now, mind you, you came from a warm climate to one of the most, to the two extremely cold cities in the United States. Chicago and New York have very cold winters, and it's also very cold even when it's not the winter. It's not warm. It's not a welcoming climate for outdoor activity on the East Coast or in the Midwest, especially in the Northeast part of the Midwest. It's cold up here. You know what I'm saying? If you're not used to the cold, I don't know what to tell you. You would go from somewhere that had palm trees to where you're going to have to turn your car on 10 minutes before you go outside and leave. I don't know why anybody would do that, but that's what you guys did. So don't come to no city that's right outside the Great Lakes, lake effect snow, you know what I'm saying, Arctic wind blast, you know what I'm saying, and then complain about the climate. Like, that don't make any sense. You walked past palm trees to go to where we have snowplows, and then you want to complain about the climate. That makes absolutely no sense.
Well, I'm sorry that they feel that way, but Chicago taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for paying these bills. And that $330 million bill, that's just what the state of Illinois is paying. The city of Chicago is committed to paying $255 million this year alone, on top of all the other amenities that all the other layers of government are providing, including our schools. It's simply not sustainable. And the fact of the matter is this: the federal government has failed in this moment to not only secure the border, to address the asylum seekers, and to provide for their well-being, since they're putting cases
You're
6 years away.
Right. That is the point. You shouldn't have to apologize to people who aren't happy with the treatment they're getting in Chicago. They made a decision to leave their homes. And unfortunately, they're still not happy. In the meantime, the people who live in your state are paying millions, if not billions of dollars eventually. You don't need to apologize.
And remember what he said, right? Remember what he said, the amount of money, the $330 million, it's way more than that in New York City. It's way more than that in New York City. So they're getting crushed with these bills. They're getting crushed with these amount of money that they're being charged. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching, wherever you're watching from. If you have not smashed the like button and shared the stream to your social media, please take a moment to do that. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, wherever you're watching from, hit the bell icon or the subscribe button and subscribe.
No, I think you're absolutely correct, Bill. I think it's in my nature, just as a good Christian, to try to help people. But at the end of the day, I'm not responsible for this failure. We've seen our president and our vice president come to our city numerous times. They're hosting the Democratic National Convention here in several months, and yet they still allow us to be the guinea pig for this failed policy.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many people would be interested in a live stream with commentary, DNC video? That's going to be interesting. I'm very interested. I think that I hope that there's a lot of black people at that DNC conference, and I hope they turn all the way up. You know what I'm saying? I hope they turn all the way up. You know what I mean? Torian said, "Are you going to open up your door? Are you going to open up your heart and doors to the SOB?" Yeah, the only problem is that there'll probably be a weapon pointed out of it. You know what I'm saying? All right, yeah. So if anybody finds out the dates or whatever, what networks is going to be on, just let me know. Let me know in Discord. Let me know in on Twitter or something. You know what I'm saying? And I'll make sure that I get it so that we can set it up. I'm not sure when it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need to take the day off of work and all that. But yeah, we'll definitely do it. And I'll try to get some co-hosts too. You know what I'm saying? So that'll be what's up. Shout out to my man Operator 6. What's good with it, bro?
Of allowing individuals to come here for asylum with no support, to allow sanctuary cities to be the magnet that sends them here, not only from people like Abbott, but from Democratic states as well, who have all jettisoned their sanctuary city policies while we hold steadfast to ours. Yeah, our voters have said they want enough, have had enough, and they want to vote on that topic in the city, and hopefully we can give them that chance.
I just want to read this. Governor Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, his letter to President Biden in October: "The humanitarian crisis is overwhelming our ability to provide aid to the refugee population. Unfortunately, the welcome aid Illinois has been providing these asylum seekers has not been matched with support by the federal government."
Now, that's interesting, right? Do you guys remember when I said that what you're starting to see in Chicago is the same thing that we're seeing from New York City with Mayor Eric Adams? Chicago just isn't as outspoken about it, and the media is not putting as much attention on Chicago as they are New York City. And that's probably because Mayor Eric Adams is more outspoken about it, because New York City is probably, out of everybody, getting hit the hardest. But look at what's going on. Now the government in Chicago, they're starting to sound a lot like the government of New York City, aren't they? If you guys see the similarities in the rhetoric change from Chicago to New York, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you guys don't see it, then give me a thumbs down. But this isn't what they were saying before. Illinois has been providing to these asylum seekers, has not been matched with support by the federal government. So now that actually substantiates what Eric Adams is saying, because Eric Adams is saying that the federal government is not providing the support that they were promised in order to facilitate sustainable migrant support. Right? So you got New York saying it. Now you got Chicago saying it. Texas has been saying it. And mind you, Texas isn't a sanctuary city. They just happen to be right on the border. You know what I'm saying?
So he's asking for more money. Just last comment, then we got to roll.
You know, the sad part is, I think many in my party are viewing the migrant crisis as their next COVID-2 money grab. You know, we've seen a lot of money come to Democratic cities to help cover the costs of COVID, and now the big $5 billion ask is now we need more money to help cover the migrant crisis. Crisis to crisis, the federal government they keep asking for more money to help cover our costs. It's simply not sustainable.
So now, what if you guys agree with what Raymond Lopez just said right there? Give me a thumbs up. If you disagree, then give me a thumbs down. I actually agree with what he said right here. Shout out to Lloyd Sky 9. That's an interesting point. Lloyd Sky 9 says the federal government doesn't cue the state in on its plans to destabilize these cities, which is interesting because that would be one of the ways that the city governments would lose power, and that would create a situation where the federal government is superseding the state's first prioritized rule of authority from the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Black Spider. What's good with the Black Spider?
Lopez, thanks for coming on. I still love your town.
Thank you.
Okay?
So there you go. So yeah, you see, as you guys can see right there, Fox News loves Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Which is one of the reasons why they're so focused, why they're hyper focused on it. So how many people heard about the relocations that are going on in Chicago? In Chicago, what they've done is that they're starting to move the migrants away from the police stations. They're moving the migrants away from the police stations. Now, the thing that I find interesting is that the police station, if you ask me, should have never been an outpost for migrants to be chilling at to begin with. You know what I'm saying? If they didn't have sanctuary city, they could have assessed, if they didn't have sanctuary city status, they could have assessed those migrants who were out front at the police station. And if they were there illegally, they could have started deportation proceedings. But because they're sanctuary cities, if you're a sanctuary city, for the most part, migrants or illegal migrants, whoever is there that's being provided sanctuary to, those people are basically immune from the law. You know what I'm saying? So instead of the law dealing with them, now the law is housing them. He probably did. Shout out to Torian. Torian said, why Ray Lopez face looked like he just left a Botox convention. You know, Ray Lopez be having to, you know what I'm saying? He got to, Ray Lopez got to be having his manscaping on point. You know why. You know what I'm saying?
New questions and some concerns tonight over Chicago's movement of migrants out of police districts.
Shout out to Bitter Truth Show. What's good with it, bro?
City has cleared people away from 5 districts so far. More than 1,400 remain outside several other districts. As for those moved, Chicago still hasn't made it clear exactly where the migrants are going and how they're prioritizing each case. CBS 2's
Well, we know where some of the migrants are going. Some of them are going back home. Some of them are going to St. Louis, right? I want you guys to put, if we're talking specifically about Chicago, let's see how good you guys' memory is and how good the retention is. Where are migrants from Chicago going? Leave it in the chat.
Andrew Ramos spoke to one insider who says the frustration is now turning to anger.
The cleanup outside the 8th Police District on the south side was swift and came without a warning Wednesday morning. For weeks, asylum seekers housed in tents took hold of West 63rd Street. By late morning, it was a mere memory. The 8th District among the many that were cleared, or what the city calls decompressed, in an effort to start moving.
They're gonna, if they end up going to Detroit, oh man, that's gonna be so bad. They're gonna tear Detroit up. Detroit is already in a bad situation. They're gonna tear Detroit up, man. Detroit is gonna be 10 times worse if they send all of those people to Detroit. If you guys hear any, if you guys get any tips or leads about migrants getting sent to Detroit, please make sure you guys get it to me. We definitely got to cover that.
Moving migrants out, with the majority headed to temporary shelters. Other districts that saw movement in the past 24 hours, districts 1, 2, 3, and 4.
We are finding a lot of areas where we see gaps, and we are at a point where we're very concerned.
While the city attributes the movement of migrants to placement in shelters or in some cases asylum seekers resettling on their own, Melissa Deming of the volunteer group Police Station Response Team, who volunteers primarily at District 7, says it's not what the city's doing, but how it's doing it that's causing problems.
Basically, they're only taking families, and we hardly have any families. Some of them got there later than them. So I really believe this. People, like couples without kids and the singles, have a lot of reasons to be really upset at our welcoming city.
CBS 2 reached out to the Office of Emergency Management and Communications to get a better understanding of who is being prioritized in this relocation. And if it's
now, we all know what the priorities are of this relocation. Yeah. Throw more on there, Eric. And like I said, if you guys have any articles or any information about it, make sure you guys either tag me on Twitter or drop it in the Discord. They're basically all Democrat cities because, to be honest, what everybody should be talking about is the fact that the Democrat cities have been using the sanctuary city status to get all of this money. Right now, another question that people should be asking is, as long as these Democrat cities have been sanctuary cities, what has the money been spent on? Because they haven't ever dealt with the migrant crisis head on, right? And they've had sanctuary city status for a very long time. I think like one of the only places that was a sanctuary city, maybe like San Francisco or, LA or something like that. Those are those places in California that are close to the Mexico border. Those are the only places that dealt with head-on migrant crisis issues. Would you guys agree? Now, all of that money that they've been getting for being sanctuary city, all the resources that they've gotten from the government year after 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 year, they haven't saved up any of it. Where did that money go? Why don't they have any remaining money from all of that money that they got to be able to give them a jump start for dealing with the current crisis? That's the question. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Tone45, my man. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat for him. Tone been a member of the channel for 3 months, but he's actually been a member of the channel for longer, but his old YouTube account got deleted. So make sure you guys show Tone some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat for Tone. Tone probably is actually for real, more like a 12-month person. You know what I'm saying?
It's specific to families. A spokesperson would only say the city is in the process of transitioning all individuals and families seeking asylum. It's the latest in what volunteer groups say is a series of fumbles by the city on how it's tackling the migrant crisis. Communication with these groups who are on the front lines assisting asylum seekers has been less than lackluster, they say.
I understand it's a crisis. It's really difficult. But our request is that it's equitable.
While the number of arriving migrants has significantly dropped in recent weeks, the number still awaiting placement at police districts remains staggering. More than 1,400 as of Wednesday.
So now here goes my question. I want you guys to let me know what factors there are that you all think have decreased the amount of migrants that are coming in. That's the question. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but you guys know about that construction site that's going on, the encampment that they plan on making for the migrants in Chicago, right? We saw a town hall meeting about that. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the residents of the South Side and the residents of Brighton Park. And the residents of the South Side and the residents of Brighton Park they were clearly unhappy. Clearly unhappy. Okay, about what was going on at that old warehouse that they plan on renovating. They just ignored it. They just ignored it. You know what I'm saying? So let's check it out.
As the weather gets colder, the clock is ticking for Chicago migrants who are still without shelter.
Now we're getting a closer look at construction of a possible tent base camp for those asylum seekers. CBS 2's Sabrina Franza has a look at where migrants are moving in the meantime.
Just like we saw at 38th in California, the sign is posted here, right on this fence, no trespassing, property of the city of Chicago. The idea, as construction is underway, that another possible migrant tent base camp is coming here to 115th. And
now, let me ask you guys a question. Who's making the money? Who's getting all of these contracts for all of this construction? That's what I want to know from you guys. Because somebody has to be getting paid for this labor, right? Because the migrants aren't building these places themselves. These people are popping these things up at the spare of the moment. Just at the spare of the moment. If you need need a migrant shelter, boom, here it is. You know what I'm saying? We got like cubicles, porta potties, and cot beds. Boom, right at your disposal if you need it. Out of the clear blue sky. We just popping them up. And we got people that can just put them up. We can renovate buildings. Take 2 seconds. Here's my question. Who are the companies that are getting paid to do these jobs?
in Halsted. As winter is fast approaching, construction is just getting underway in Morgan Park, the second of the city's 2 possible migrant tent base camps. Our sources say the site is still in the process of an environmental evaluation, just like 38th and California. That has to happen before they can move forward with a base camp. It could be a few weeks to a month before people actually move in. Meanwhile, for over a month, protesters have stood outside the proposed Brighton Park site. One neighbor spoke to us. He asked we hide his identity.
Everybody takes like a turn.
And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 38 people watching and we got 30 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us over 70, that would be great.
Stop in the morning. I was supposed to be at work today, but I saw the people here, less people, so I came to help them out.
All this while there are mounting questions about where migrants are going before moving into a tent base camp. An analysis of city data shows that back on November 9th, there were 2,537 people in police stations, 12,063 in shelters. A few days later, on November 13th, 737 fewer people in police stations, but only about a 200-person increase at shelters. Yesterday, the number showed even fewer at police stations, a few more in shelters, but overall.
So now, again, we got to ask the question, why are so many of these people camped out at the police station? Think about that. Well, actually, it's not really. You know what I'm saying? If you actually think about it and think about how the legal system and the criminal justice system works and all that, it's actually not. I was about to say it's actually weird that the people who are actually illegal and committing crimes are posted up right outside of the law enforcement agency. But when you sit down and think about it and understand the reality that most of the criminals actually work in law enforcement, it kind of takes away from the validity of that talking point.
Over 700 people unaccounted for. The city told us Chicago might not be their final destination. They would only say that the numbers at police stations have gone down because of placement in temporary shelters, outmigration, resettlement, and other factors. We'll keep asking to learn more about what exactly that means. Alderman Ronnie Mosley says the construction that's happening here right now is supposed to make it easier for the Morgan Park Commons development to start breaking ground in 2024. That what's happening here will make it cheaper and easier for that construction. We're at 115th and Halsted. Sabrina Franza, CBS 2 News.
All right, so there's that, right? So now as a result of all of this stuff going on, people are becoming disgruntled. And we're going to see more of that. We're going to see more disgruntled Chicagoans, and we're going to see more disgruntled New Yorkers, which is going to be interesting because who takes care of disgruntled Chicagoans and disgruntled New Yorkers? In most cases, it's law enforcement, right? But as we saw in the last Undocumented Bro stream on BLR1, many of the budget cuts that New York City Mayor Eric Adams is doing will be related to circulating police officers and filling vacancies in law enforcement, which means that there's going to be less law enforcement to deal with people who are having confrontations or disgruntled behavior as a result of being irritated and outraged by the unfair treatment of Chicago citizens as a result of this favoritism that the Chicago and federal governments are playing for the migrants against the residents. Rightfully so, if you ask me.
Breaking news, 2 women have been arrested for trying to block construction of a migrant site on the southwest side. The women are accused of blocking the entrance to the site where a migrant camp is planned near 38th in California. They are also...
Now, you know how they say that America is a country of immigrants? I disagree with that statement completely. A more accurate statement would be that America was stolen by European immigrants. But now when it comes to Brighton Park, as you guys can see from the picket signs there and from the people, Brighton Park is actually a community of immigrants. I mean, some of them people actually need translators to talk about how upset they are about the migrant crisis, which is one of the funniest things that I could possibly imagine or see. You know what I'm saying? Those people in Brighton, literally like most of the residents of Brighton Park, they have to be first or second generation. Half of them can barely speak English, and they have very ethnic names. You know what I'm saying? You saw the one guy who was flipping out at the meeting that's about to go and make a video about KO Kid Fit. These people are struggling through sentences to talk about how they don't want migrants there in their community when they themselves are the sons, daughters, you know what I'm saying, relatives of first generation immigrants. You know what I'm saying? They get rowdy over there. Now, when people talk about, oh, it's a shame about what's going on in Chicago, it's never a shame about how ignorant and violent the residents of Brighton Park are. The residents of Brighton Park attack their own politicians. But when you listen to this in the mainstream media says, look at what these good patriots of Brighton Park are doing. They're standing up for their government rights. You know what I'm saying? These people attacked an alderman alderwoman, I should say, who actually has their back. These are violent ruffians that live in Brighton Park, and they'll get busy. They have gotten busy. They got busy on an alderwoman that was walking through. They literally ran up on her, surrounded her. Somebody got knocked upside the head, if I'm not mistaken. They flip out at the meetings over there, at the town hall meetings. Now you got 2 of these people from Brighton Park arrested for their attempt to block Chicago migrant site constructions. So these people from Brighton Park getting in front of the bulldozer and in front of the crane talking about, you will not build anything for these migrants. And they can barely speak English themselves.
Accused of blocking traffic on the street. The charges are misdemeanors and the women have been released. That site has been hotly contested by neighbors with large protests in the street.
All right, so there's that. And that's another, you see that flag that was just up? That's something else that we'll be talking about. Hopefully later on. It depends on how much time I got. Depends on how much time I got. Now, I got to ask y'all a question. How many people are out here watching Thanksgiving Day parades? If you guys are out here watching a Thanksgiving Day parade, give me a thumbs up. If you're not, give me a thumbs down. I need to make a grift channel, a parade channel, and just restream parades and shit. I guarantee you people will watch that shit, because I'm looking as I'm about to screenshot this video. It's like 50,000 people watching these parades. You know what I'm saying? That shit crazy. So one of the top priorities that the United States government has as far as the migrant crisis is to make sure, you guys ready for this one? Make sure that you do not misgender the migrants. So I might actually have to change the name of the series so that it's more gender fluid, so that people aren't offended. I might have to change it from the undocumented bros to the undocumented gender ambiguous, I guess. Let's see what this lady has to say about it.
DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is warning Border Patrol agents not to misgender illegal immigrants. Yes, you heard that right.
Don't misgender these illegal immigrants. That's the priority. Not arrest them, not send them back. You better make sure that if it's a shim, you call it a shim. If it's a she, he, Well, damn it, you better make sure that you check she/he on that box. And just so that you understand, if any of these people are in custody, they can use whatever bathroom their hormones desire, or else you're going to be in big trouble.
So as we watch massive crowds of migrants cross our southern border under President Biden's watch, nearly 2.5 million now, it appears the White House is prioritizing pronouns over actually fixing the border crisis, or maybe even just addressing it. New DHS orders obtained by the Heritage Foundation instruct agents to, quote,
new information found by the Heritage Foundation. All right, so this is what we're going to take a detour from this, and we're going to talk about the open loop cycle of nonsense and information that's misinformation that's cited as actual factual information from the Rupert Murdoch media value chain network. I need y'all to let me know who the Heritage Foundation is and what they do. Now, mind you, this is important because this is where Fox News is citing this information from. Now, let's first ask this question about Fox News and their citation of the Heritage Foundation. Is the Heritage Foundation verified and accurate, academic, unbiased information? That's the question. Cameron Jones says anti-black think tank. Facts. If you guys agree with that the Heritage Foundation is a anti-black pro-WS think tank, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. So now, knowing that the information that they got for this report comes directly from the Heritage Foundation, should that set off warning alerts in your head when you hear that? Yes or no?
A new order from DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is warning Border Patrol agents not to misgender illegal immigrants. Yes, you heard that right. So as we watch massive crowds of migrants cross our southern border under President Biden's watch, nearly 2.5 million now, it appears the White House is prioritizing pronouns over actually fixing the border crisis, or maybe even just addressing it. New DHS orders obtained by the Heritage Foundation instruct agents to, quote, ask individuals about their preferred pronouns. They suggest asking, quote, I would like to be respectful. What name and pronoun would you like me to use addressing you? Or ask, can you please confirm your pronouns or gender identity?
How about show some documentation? Wouldn't they be able to confirm all of that information if there were documents there, which is one of the reasons why documents are a requirement? Let's start there. Like, let's not turn walking barefoot through a river. Let's not turn that into rocket science. You know what I'm saying? Let's not turn that into rocket science. If they had documents, like Cameron says, right, an ID card, all of that information would be able to be verified from the ID card. So now you got to ask yourself the question, what's up with the Biden administration? Why are they doing this? Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. What's good with it?
The memo also tells agents not to use pronouns like he and she and Mr. and ma'am until they are sure of how that person would like to be addressed. Congressman.
Again, why are they providing so much service? We got to make sure that we properly address these people. These people weren't even considered enough to properly come into the country. They're not even properly addressing us. Yet we got to take some type of provisions and special in special care to quote unquote properly address them. Does that make any sense?
And I can't tell if I'm on an episode of South Park or in a Far Side cartoon or an alien joke, because it is preposterous to think that our border agents would be instructed with these orders. Mind you, that's the primary order, not let's get you to safety, not which cartel has a gun to your head right now, not I'm worried for my safety engaging. It is nonsense. But this is the continued nonsense we get from this administration.
I'm at a loss at this point. I mean, this one right here, I mean, like I said, maybe the Truman Show, and I'm looking for the back exit door, because when you get to this point, they're coming across the border in record numbers. The administration is encouraging them to come across the border. This is the part that I just, honest to God, don't get. You've got a secretary who is blatantly bending the law to say everything's better because we're putting them through parole through the actual, entry case. No, you're not.
Yeah, so now let me ask you guys this. Do you guys know what he's talking about when he said that there's a secretary that's actually bending the law? Because that's actually facts. That is actually indeed going on. You know what I'm saying? That is actually going on. They've come up with that parole rule.
Because the law doesn't say that. And by the way, 95% of those who come on asylum claims will not be granted asylum. Let's quit the lie. It's a lie. Mayorkas, you're so bad at your job, you make your boss actually look good. Okay, that's how bad Mayorkas is at this. But my concern is going back to something you said, Emily. I've been to the border to see our agents.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually big facts. Bitter Truth says indoctrination. Then people are going to look at them like they're crazy and be like, WTF is a pronoun. That's facts. If you guys agree with Bitter Truth Show, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. That's big facts. And real quick, while you guys are at it, if you guys have not smashed the like button, shout out to everybody for getting us over 40. That is what is up. You know what I'm saying? You guys are killing it. If everybody can take a moment and smash that like button and get us to 60, that would be great.
I am tired of our Border Patrol agents being made to daycare. They've been made to keep people safe. They're trying to do their job as best they can, as the law says they should. And they're being mistreated over and over and over by this administration and Mayorkas, who's at the head of the organization. Why don't they actually say thank you and do your job? We'll give you the tools to do your job. When they're not able to do their job, we're putting our own border agents in health concerns ways. These folks are coming across the border where they're having to keep them in unsanitary conditions because they're trying to get them out. They're doing their best. And then their head of their agency is saying, don't misgender them. Give me a break. Get actually to reel up there and somebody figure this out. He ought to resign simply because he's freaking incompetent.
Leslie, to that point, can you say with a straight face that any of these illegal immigrants will actually care, give the slightest iota of care about their pronouns when they are subjected to rapes and sexual assaults and violence and extreme poverty and the control that these cartels have and barely making it alive because of these cartels? And they think that being called by a proper pronoun, that's going to assuage everything else?
This is wild. Now, if you guys hear anything about this or you see any articles or anything about this, please, y'all know what to do with them so that we can talk about it, because this is just wild right here. It's crazy, the stuff that these administrations are focusing on. And honestly, like I said, with the next election cycle coming up, they're going to try to make it so that people do not remember any of this stuff. They're going to try to make it so that people don't discuss any of this stuff. And all of these pitfalls and all of this dumb stuff that they've been doing, they need to be held accountable for it next election cycle. They need to be questioned about this on a public stage and be made to justify or give some type of explanation about all of the idiocy that they've been engaging in throughout their entire time in office. And then we have to ask them the question, why is it that they had time to do all of this nonsense, yet they didn't get anything done that they know that we needed to get done? And then ask them, why should we vote for them after all of this that we see? That's the question. If you guys agree with that, let me know.
Actually cares about this?
When I first saw this, I thought you guys picked this because you knew I was here today.
No, we would never.
Shake it up. There we go.
Look, this one was when I was like, no, I don't think it's a priority. I do think you should be respectful. And there are some people that would care who are trying to escape persecution if they're LGBTQ members of that community in some Central and other Latin American countries. However, let's
shout out to Retro Gaming 99. Good morning, bro. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Hopefully everything is going well around your way.
Give a shout out to Border Patrol, who just did a fabulous job with a fentanyl bust that has stopped so many drugs from coming in and has prevented and perhaps saved many, many lives in the process. 1, 2, we need to look at what immigration is. It's not just a Mayorkas. It's not just a Biden. It's not just Democrat. It's not just Republican.
Yeah,
it's
I
Democrats
agree.
And Republicans both in Congress.
I agree 100%. I agree 100% with what Cameron is saying. Cameron says those debate audiences are hand-selected from Wall Street, Big Pharma, and the military-industrial complex. They will never ask nor press them in a debate. Facts. And one of the things that is important, right, that I believe is that's one of the reasons why we have to get our questions out there, and we have to make sure that our questions start circulating so people can see. Just because they're not presenting these kind of questions or this kind of stuff on the mainstream media, just because it's not getting any play, that doesn't mean that people aren't asking these questions. What's actually going on is that these questions are being ignored. We're being ignored. You can't ignore things that have 100,000 retweets and 1 million likes. You can't ignore that stuff as much as they want to. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons why we got to do that.
We're to blame for the failure of the system. We have an antiquated asylum system. We have a multifaceted problem. It takes a multifaceted solution. That's just common sense, which I believe God gives all of us equally. And, you know, the bottom line is Congress needs to act, not just a president, but this memo doesn't help, and it doesn't help the perception, because immigration is a very important issue for everyone.
I appreciate that answer. And I think, you know, to those fleeing true persecution, then I would think the safety of being alive still trumps in priority, whether they're called the right pronoun. And
Now, here's my question, right? She said, quote unquote, fleeing true persecution. I want to ask you guys, what is your definition of true persecution? Because I guarantee you that our definition of quote unquote true persecution is very different from hers. I wouldn't be surprised if that woman there believes that true persecution is what she considers is true persecution. What she feels is true persecution, not anything based on any kind of standard, not anything based on any kind of specific definition. I guarantee you that her definition of what quote unquote true persecution is, I guarantee you that it changes as much as she changes her outfit, which is probably every 2 minutes.
They just want to be safe, you know? And then to the point about the 26 defendants now for that fentanyl, you know, that wouldn't have happened were it not for these flooded borders under Biden's watch. Kelly, I wanted to draw your attention too. Now let's bring out the former president, his actions, because actions matter and endorsements arguably matter. So this is President Trump, who went down to the border. He's serving border agents a Thanksgiving meal with gratitude and acknowledgement, two things we've yet to see from our current president.
Speaking of which, as far as these serving these Thanksgiving meals, just wait until you guys see this Thanksgiving meal footage that I got here. You guys are gonna die laughing. You guys are gonna die laughing at this Thanksgiving Day footage.
And during that trip to Texas, he scored an arguably critical endorsement by Governor Abbott. What say you?
Yeah, you know, Leslie says it takes a multifaceted solution. Absolutely. It also takes a competent leader. We don't have a competent leader. We have President Biden. We did have a competent leader.
Now, here's the thing, right? How many people know who this lady is that's on the screen? Lady with the pink blazer. You guys know who she is? So, and the reason why I'm asking if you guys know who she is because this is what I'm talking about how you have to pick apart and deconstruct the news, right? We already picked apart and deconstructed the news in the fact that they decided to use the Heritage Foundation for statistics, and then they didn't quote anything else. Now, Cameron Jones says no clue. Lloyd Sky 9 says no clue. You guys would be surprised. Shout out to Till Dog 12. Everybody throw some radiation emoji in the chat for Till Dog 12. That's Kayleigh McKinney, Trump's old press secretary. So she's never going to say anything bad about Trump. Ever. You know what I'm saying?
President Trump, who implemented a multifaceted solution: remain in Mexico, build the wall. He threatened to put tariffs on Mexico unless they mobilize their troops to their northern border, our southern border, and it worked. We are seeing now record-breaking numbers on the southern border. That doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens because in the word.
Now, another thing that I want you to notice, right, is pay attention to how Trump's female bodyguard, Kayleigh McKinney, she's got this job on Fox News, right? You guys remember Biden's old press secretary? What was her name? The redhead. Jennifer Psaki, right? Sock it to me. Hot Psaki went over to NBC, and now she got a job over there on NBC. So I want you guys to pay attention to how the media on both sides utilizes a closed loop of misinformation, biased information, and biased reporters. You guys see that? But yet and still, people will run to this kind of media instead of checking out what we got to offer.
Of Obrador in Mexico, he called Joe Biden the migrant president. He understands the connection between policies and outcomes. And that's what we're seeing now. I regret we don't have a competent leader anymore, but I used to hear build the wall at Trump rallies, but now a majority, 55% are shouting build the wall together in the latest.
So again, right? Like you can never expect Kayleigh McKinney is never, ever, 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 ever gonna say anything negative about Trump. Ever. She may as well have some pink pom-poms to match her pink blazer. You know what I'm saying? But you're never gonna see that. Just like how on MSNBC, Jen Psaki is never gonna say anything negative about Joe Biden. So this is why it's so important. Don't just take what the people on the news are saying. Understand, if you understand the people who are on the news, then you'll understand why their messages are what they are. You know what I'm saying? Facts. And shout out to Ricky Jones and shout out to Lavanya. Yeah, that's Trump's ex-press secretary. And also remember, right, Sarah Huckabee, who, if I'm not mistaken, I think she's the governor of Arkansas. She was Trump's press secretary before Kayleigh McKinney.
Poll 55% support building a wall because it worked.
Taken, forgive this sort of oversimplistic analogy, but one time I was on it. It was on an international flight. I was in Asia. The flight was totally insane. It was worst flight. I didn't fly for 2 years after. It was so scary. My point is, all we cared about was landing safely. I didn't care whether peanuts were served or not. So I would think for those millions of migrants flooding across our border, again, they do not care how they are addressed as long as they are alive. And more importantly, I don't think our border agents care about the niceties put forth by this administration. I think they care about their safety and some type of purpose-driven career and their safety that they are absolutely lacking under this administration.
I doubt that the parents of the dead babies and the children who drowned trying to get across the border really care about the pronouns, or the women who have been repeatedly raped trying to get across the border, who've been repeatedly ignored by Alejandro Mayorkas and this administration, who laid the foundation for all of this misery and suffering. I don't think people care who are part of all of the communities who've been financially and economically crushed by this wide open border. And this is coast to coast. This is a catastrophe brought upon this nation by this administration. And I kind of challenge Mayorkas to maybe go to Chicago, where a moment after—
I told you, man, Fox News loves Chicago. They may as well set up an office in Chicago, right in the middle of the hood, right on the south side. You guys think that, if you guys think that Fox News should set up an office in Chicago right on the south side, give me a thumbs up. If y'all think that they shouldn't, give me a thumbs down.
after moment, time after time, the residents in Chicago, plagued by crime, again,
there you go. There you go. Yeah, yep. Dog whistle about black people. If you guys are laughing at how they can't help it, throw a laughing face emoji in the chat.
Power, but who have been angry about the illegal migrants taking over their parks, taking over their playgrounds. Let Mayorkas tell those parents and those men and women that his priority is misgendering illegal migrants and pronouns. And I'd like to see what those residents of Chicago have to say to him about that.
You can't make it up. And just a reminder, every time you see orders, your tax dollars went for the execution of even writing it and putting—
Hey, shout out to Ricky Jones. Make sure you guys throw some flames and radiation emoji in the chat for Ricky Jones. Ricky Jones has not watched the mainstream media in 15 years. Facts. And I guarantee you, at this point in your life, from not watching the mainstream media, you are the most informed that you've ever been in your entire life. Is that true?
It forth. Just a waste top to bottom. Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host—
Yeah. Hey, Emily, adios. So next, what we got here is Thanksgiving welcome. All right, we got a Thanksgiving welcome. So everybody put some turkeys in the chat for those turkeys who decided to wind up in Chicago and drain all of the resources from the Chicago residents.
For some migrants who are now living in Chicago, this will be their first Thanksgiving in America. And while they are far from home, one angle and group is making sure they feel welcome.
New at 10, our Charlie DeMar spoke with some of those migrants who say they are thankful despite what they're facing.
Outside Chicago's 7th Police District, like most across the city, tents cover the sidewalk where migrants, primarily from South America, wait for what's next. For some, that next move was out of the cold onto a bus and into an Inglewood church for a hot Thanksgiving meal.
Man, they tearing that food up. They tearing that food up. I told you, do y'all see this? This is what I told y'all. I'm going to be looking like this at work tonight. I'm going to be looking like this at work tonight, and then nobody is going to be able to find me for about a good hour and a half.
Wood church for a hot Thanksgiving meal.
Now, here go my question. What's going on with the homeless people? Are the homeless people getting any Thanksgiving meals? Because I'm not trying to be funny, man, but I would not be surprised if the homeless people are getting passed over for resources to provide resources in prioritization to the undocumented bros. I wouldn't be surprised by that. That shit about to get torn up. Shout out to my man Black Star Racer. He got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hogs, mogs, group beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chickens, turkey, rabbit. You know it.
Those are candy yams.
If there's a need, we want to meet that need. We want to help meet that need.
Deontay Tanner runs Servants for Hope. He says after previously witnessing the despair in front of the 7th Police District, he wanted to include the migrants in his annual Thanksgiving dinner.
The hardest part was just figuring out how we was going to transport them, but including them in the actual dinner, that was easy.
And he's thankful for the moment that he's having right now with everybody and just being here with everybody else that's enjoying themselves and eating.
Man, they getting some good food. You know what I'm saying? You know, they got them old FBA Chicago grandmas cooking them yams, you know what I'm saying? Them candy yams, and they feeding them to a bunch of Confederados who don't even appreciate these people, man. Shout out to Lavanya Frank. Make sure y'all throw some flames and radiation emoji in the chat for Lavanya Frank for not watching the mainstream media in 7 years. Shout out to her and Ricky.
So he's just happy to be here.
Renzo Marca says he's faced an incredible amount of adversity and challenges since leaving his home in Peru.
A lot of violence, a lot of arrests, but through it all, they were able to make it here, and they're very grateful to be here now, and they feel a lot safer being here.
But some across Chicago and in Inglewood have not been as welcoming and have even protested the resources being used for migrants. Turner says it's his goal to help anyone in need, no matter where they're from.
It's on all of us. Right, this is our community. Once they're in our community, they're part of the community. And it's
see now again, I don't have no problem with this brother. I don't know this brother. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you that this brother probably thinks that he's doing the right thing. I don't like completely going in on people. You know what I'm saying? However, I want y'all to pay attention to what he's doing, because this is unauthorized barbecue invites. Like, as you guys, they literally are there eating candy yams. You know what I'm saying? They're literally there eating candy yams. So you're giving these unauthorized barbecue invites for not only undocumented, but unvetted people who probably got anti-Black sentiments. And as they start to build into the community and as they start ingratiating themselves in the community, they're going to be locking and blocking you out of opportunities and getting on code with the population at large to make life harder for you, bro. Defending yourself does not mean that you're harming or oppressing others, but you have to defend yourself. And this isn't necessarily a good defense strategy, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, then give me a thumbs down. And also, shout out to David Brown, man. Make sure y'all show my man David Brown some love. Throw some flames in the chat. Radiation emoji for him. 8 years of no mainstream media. Shout out to you.
on us to welcome them in.
A full stomach, some new coats for the winter.
You from Venezuela?
And through it all, gratitude, despite not knowing what's next.
Adios, good night. Thank you for todo.
Charlie DeMar, CBS 2 News.
So there's that, man. There is that. So as you guys can see, the title was not wrong. You know what I'm saying? The title was not wrong. In Chicago, it's lit. Everything lit. Now, my question is this going to perpetuate after the next election cycle? Let me know in the comment section. Don't move a muscle. Make sure that you guys watch the stream all the way through to the end. Let it take you to the next premiere window. Like I said, I got some more streams popping up today. The premiere window that it takes you to might not be the next stream that's about to happen, but make sure that y'all smash the like and hit the bell and get a notification anyway. I want to shout out the stream sponsors. Shout out to y'all. We got my man Alonzo Griffin on the board becoming a YouTube member. Shout out to my man Alonzo. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat and show him some love. Shout out to my man Jay Bird. My man Jay Bird been rocking with the channel for 18 months. Shout out to my man Jay Bird for that. Shout out to Tone45 for the 3 months of membership support. Definitely appreciate that. And also he needs to get more credit because he's actually been a member a lot longer than 3 months, a lot longer. Like I said, he's closer to probably the 12-month or even longer than that mark. So show him some love. And not just the members, not just the people that super chat. For everybody that watches the channel, enjoy today with your people. Turn up, pull up, eat up for me, and
life. Yeah, I'm really talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up, look, walking this bitch like, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey, I'm really him. Don't believe me, come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all on tour, got demons. Say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though. Please step aside so they can see me. And I walk up in this like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, I'm really him. On God, walk up in this like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, I'm really him. I'm the realest from my city. That's on my knee, that's on TV, that's on mamas. Niggas don't believe me, come and see me. I been dodging all that fake. All these niggas working broke, but I been getting paid. All that know me from the street. Flexing for a feature, that's like every other week. Talk behind my back, I kick my feet up, have a seat. Cause at the end of the day, all these watching me as I walk up in this like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, I'm really him. On God, walk up in this like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, I'm really him. On God, walk up in this like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, I'm really him. Hold up, look, walking this bitch like, hey, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey.